Well, hello, friends. Mark Holmes here, Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Jobu. And as always, thank you guys for watching, subscribing, and being part of the Jobu Report. It is week number 7, and God, I'm just screwing up tonight. Um, wow. Let me start over again. Hello, friends. Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Jobu. And as always, thank you guys for watching, subscribing, and joining into the Jobu Report. Now, forget what just happened with the beginning of the broadcast there. Had a little difficulty here and there getting this up and running because I'm still new at this. I'm still old. So forgive me. We will get better with this as it goes on. So thank God it is week 14. This NFL season is literally just flying by. I mean, can you imagine that the Dallas Cowboys are already in the playoffs? You know, we're beyond the 8-8, as they always used to say. And it's a great feeling knowing that, you know, we've got at least one more game after the regular season. So tonight we are getting ready for the New York Giants. And I got to tell you, my thoughts personally is I think that this is going to be a blowout. There is no reason why the New York Giants should be hanging in this game. I mean, we've got a lot of trolls that have been hanging out here, Giants that have been pounding their chest about their team and stuff, and props to you guys for beating us. But I dare say that our team is a lot better team than that week 1. Now think about it. It was Dak Prescott's very first NFL game. Dez Bryant had literally 1 catch for 8 yards. Okay, let me say again. Dez Bryant had 1 catch for 8 yards. Zeke Elliott, 21 rushes for 51 yards. I mean, a 2.5 yard average. He's literally doubling that. And expect Dez Bryant to have more than 1 catch. And with all of that, you can add Dez Bryant having a catch, no catch in the end zone. That should have been a catch, could have been a catch. They ruled it not a catch. You had Cole Beasley with what should have been a short touchdown. The guy never drops passes, dropped one there on the end zone. And, of course, Terrence Williams with the brain fart, who should have gotten out of bounds and might have had a chance to kick a 60-yard field goal and won the game. But we lost the game, so hats off to you, Giants. But Giants, if you think that all of those things are going to happen again, I don't think they're going to. That team is totally different than what we had before. Now, on the flip side of that, the New York Giants with their $250 million defense, well, it's pretty much hurting pretty bad. JPP is out. You've got Vernon is basically your big pass rusher. Your other ends have 2.5 sacks between them. And I just don't think that they're going to be able to hang. Now, looking ahead at this game, the weather looks like it may be a factor. It's definitely going to be cold and possibly snow during the day into game time. So that favors the running game, which definitely favors the Cowboys. The Giants, even with Shane Vereen back, still can't run the ball. They're basically 26th in the NFL with 77 yards a game, which is pathetic. So let me click on over here so I can start seeing some of your guys' comments, and we'll get a rolling. Now tonight we have where's my notes? Tonight we're going to go ahead and do another one of the Jobu contests for a T-shirt. I've got a great trivia question here I'll be bringing up for you guys, and I hope that you guys can get this one. This one's going to be a really tough one. I had to look it up and figure out the answer on it myself. So be prepared for a really, really hard question. I don't know if you guys heard the news. I posted a video about it earlier today about we're not going to be very lucky in New York because of the really hard question. Excuse me. Because Lucky has been actually suspended for this game. He didn't make the trip. Apparently he was out late, missed an AM meeting, and was doing some Snapchatting at 2 a.m. in the morning, which has since been removed. So we don't know what exactly he said on the Snapchats, but safe to say that the team wasn't happy about it. Kind of tore up about that because, you know, you want to have all your weapons when you're going against the Giants. And, you know, you looked at what Carolina did with Cam Newton, sitting him out for the first series, first play, it's an interception. So you want to have discipline. We don't want a repeat of Greg Hardy. So it kind of sends a message, I guess. Hopefully we'll be okay without him. Lamar Jackson, yeah. Oh, okay. So Lamar Jackson won the Heisman. Thank you very much, Nubian chick. Let's see. Yeah, I apologize, Space Cowboy. I'm old. Okay, see, when I grew up, the first computers we used in college didn't have a screen. They literally printed out the response. Okay, so doing this stuff and running all this stuff, I'm really new at it, so I'm still getting the hang of it. For some reason, the camera wouldn't turn on right, so I had to figure it out. Got it worked out, so forgive me. Let's see some of your questions here. Well, I think the Giants, personally, Space Cowboy, I think the Giants actually are about to have a collapse. I think tomorrow is going to be a rough game for them. When you look at all of the off the field stuff that's going on, you have Odell Beckham fined another $12,000 for going after the officials, and he keeps talking about how he doesn't want those officials on the field. And when you think about it, it's kind of the worst thing you can do. And I'll give you an example. I had a building inspector from hell because of we didn't listen to what he had to say. We were building a furniture store. Inspector came in, saw all the stuff that the owners were putting in there, and he said, I want that stuff out. Well, they thought they were cool, and they said, well, we'll just put it in the back. So he hid it in the back. And when he came in for the next inspection, he saw the stuff in the back. He said, I told you guys to get the stuff out of here. And I said, I'll make sure they get it out. So they decided, we're going to go over his head. We're going to go ahead and cause some waves. So they knew a friend downtown. They called him. They put a foot in the inspector's ass. Well, make a long story short, from that point on, when he came through, everything had to be done to the letter of the law. I'm talking he was counting the number of screws and how deep they were in every sheet of drywall. So by Odell Beckham going through and talking about the officials, hey, that's a brotherhood there. You mess with one of them, they're all going to mess with you. Okay, so he's screwing himself. You got Victor Cruz pissed off because he's not getting enough passes. You got JPP now gone, and you've got Eli Manning, who's a turnover machine. So all of a sudden, you've got all this drama and everything else that's in there. And if they end up losing this game, I think they're going to go downhill completely. So we'll see what happens. And by the way, this kind of strange because the Washington Redskins are actually rooting for us the next couple of weeks. Go figure. Because basically everybody we play are people they're trying to chase. So we now have Redskin fans on our bandwagon. Let's go back to see some of the questions. Max Kellerman is such a douche. That's true. But I put a video up earlier today with Max Kellerman, who literally, after the Giants won, he said, basically, we're lucky as shit to beat the Cowboys. He said, for all the things that didn't go right for the Cowboys, they only beat him by 1 point. And I have to agree with that. If we end up putting all the pieces together and play our game, the Giants shouldn't be able to hang with us. Let's see, some more of your comments. Coming through so fast, I can't keep up with them. Yeah, Odell Beckham, Robert, is definitely a crybaby. And that's one of those things that I've never been a guy who likes players that do a whole lot of talking. I always felt like, let your play on the field do the talking for you. But when you end up saying, look at me, I'm so great, I'm the one-catch wonder and all that, you got to expect that you now have a target on your back and people want what you have. So they're going to be going after you. Do I watch Luke Cage? No, actually I don't, Nick. I don't know what Luke Cage is or who he is. Who wins the MVP? Ramon, I think Dak Prescott should win MVP. And the reason I say that, because a lot of people say Zeke Elliott should. Derek Carr's dropped out of the race in my mind because of the game he had Thursday night against Kansas City. Here's the thing. You've had great running backs in the NFL before. AP, for ones run over 2,000 yards. You've had Chris Johnson run for over, 2,000 yards. You've had great seasons with running backs. But the thing that they all have in common is that they've never gone anywhere as far as playoffs have gone because they haven't had a quarterback. We had a great running game last year. We were fourth in the NFL, sixth in rushing last year. Darren McFadden was the fourth leading rusher in the NFL, but we only won 4 games. So, yes, Ezekiel Elliott is better than McFadden, but he's not that far away from being that much better. We have the same offensive line. To me, the difference in the team is Dak Prescott and what he has brought on the field. I know he's not getting the credit that I think he deserves. I mean, when you, as a rookie, lead the league in QBR, when you break Tom Brady's record of to start a career. And even though Tom Brady wasn't a rookie, when you actually have, I believe, 7 games now of 70 or better completions, that is a new record. The old record was held by Drew Brees, Peyton Manning, and Tom Brady. So you're getting numbers after numbers that literally are being busted by this guy. You've got a team that's 11-1. To me, it should be Dak Prescott. That Noble, you're a pedophile. Okay. Okay. Do me a favor, kind of keep some of the dirty remarks down a little bit because we do have some younger viewers that also walk in here. Wow, guys are going to do quick here. Dak has definitely turned his team around. The thing that I love about what's happened with this team is things that have happened that normally would end up being team killers that we've seen in the past. When you look at some of the games where Dez Bryant hasn't gotten a lot of catches, Dez Bryant hasn't said anything about it. When you look at Jason Witten not getting a pass completion, which is the first time in like forever, and his streak is now gone, you didn't hear a word about any of these things. You know, as Dez Bryant said at the end of the Vikings game, you know, I don't care if I don't get any passes, if I just have to block. As long as we're winning, I don't care. And that's the kind of guys that you want to have on there. Who is my favorite player on the Cowboys, Mr. Swag? Are we talking currently or are we talking in the past? If we're talking in the past, I have to say Roger Staubach, incredible guy. I've met him a couple times, and he's like a real person, really humble person, even though it's Roger freaking Staubach. Right now, I'm a Dak guy. Got to tell you, I love Dak. How many yards does Zeke get? I think Zeke is going to be well over 100 yards tomorrow because that defensive line right now is hurting bad for the Giants. And with the weather being bad, I think it's going to be a rough day for them as well. I don't know if you guys heard the news. Let's see. When did I start watching Dallas Cowboy football? Well, I actually grew up with it. My first memories of growing up were sitting on the couch next to my dad watching football in that old black and white TV. So it's been forever. Drew, I'll agree with 149 yards. Okay, so let's get to our trivia question here. Our question for a Jobu t-shirt, okay, so you guys can help me spread the mojo, is this question. The Dallas Cowboys were created to rival what AFL team, and what happened to that team? So let me say again. The Dallas Cowboys were created to rival what AFL team, and what happened to that team? How many times does Des throw up the X? I'm going to say 1 tomorrow because I don't think there's going to be a lot of passing with the winds there. The winds swirl really bad in the Giants Stadium, and winds are going to be 10 to 15 miles an hour, and it's going to be cold and possibly snowy. Yes, we definitely have cap space, and we may have more depending on what happens with Tony Romo next year. All right, I'm looking for answers. Let's see. Houston Oilers, good guess, but no. Houston Oilers came way later. Let's see. A hint? No, I can't give you a hint. Because if I give you a hint, you'll know it. We got a winner chicken dinner. And it is Space Cowboy. Congratulations, you got it. It was originally the Dallas Texans, and after the Dallas Cowboys were created, they ended up having to go to Kansas City and became the Kansas City Chiefs. Go figure. So Space Cowboy, email me at markwoodbore@aol.com. Okay, email me your address and your size because you have won. And let me, whoa, you guys, where'd you go? Space Cowboy, Space Cowboy 17. Let me write that down in my book here. Email me your size, and I'm gonna get that out. I've got a couple of shirts that are going out, so it'll be perfect. We'll go on Monday. Space Cowboy. I could do another one. We'll see how this night goes. And then, oh, what am I going to eat tomorrow? Oh, I've already started. My house, what I always like to do is I like to make something from Texas. Okay, I almost always have chili, and I'm superstitious. Go figure. I got a voodoo doll. So whatever I did the following week, if they won, I make sure I do it the next week. So I've been having chili literally the last 11 weeks. So we're definitely gonna have a pot of chili, and I'm gonna have some country's ribs that are gonna be put in the smoker tomorrow afternoon and cook them for about 6, 7 hours. So we'll have those ready, and of course we're gonna have Jobu's wings. Gotta have wings. And by the way, when the game is on the line, oh geez, Jobu needs a refill. You got to make sure you have a cigar, some rum, and you got to grab your chicken wing and say mojo, mojo, mojo. Maria, every time the game has been on the line, one of my great friends from the DMV fan club, she always follows along with that, and she's like, she swears by it. It works. And remember, it's only crazy if it doesn't work. Let's see. What's my bench press, Nick? Now or what it used to be? Back in the day, I used to do 375. Right now, we won't talk about what I could do now. I'm old, okay? Remember, I'm an old guy. Got it, Mark. Can I get an autographed the shirt so you can get it framed? Ooh, okay. Autographed by me or Jobu. I'm not sure how good his signature is. But I tell you what, I will send something special to go with that shirt for you, which will be, you'll enjoy it. Dallas Cowboy fan 88. As far as Stephen A. Smith turning into a Dallas Cowboy fan, I think he's always been a Dallas Cowboy fan. Because here's what you have to realize is the Dallas Cowboys are worth more than any team in the NFL. And either you're a Dallas Cowboy fan or you hate the Dallas Cowboys. So by talking about them, you can't lose. And you know, I tune into First Take because I love proving them wrong or getting the clips and stuff on it. I'm addicted to it. I think Stephen A. Smith is a genius because he's found his niche in the market that stands him out from everybody else. Now, quite frankly, when you look at it, you see the little Dallas Cowboy Stephen A. Smith fan slip out from time to time. You know, when he was wearing, he lost the bet to Skip Bayless. When he was wearing the Cowboys gear, he came out. I got to tell you, if I lost a bet, and I've lost like Facebook bets where I've had to change my profile pitch, I'm pissed off about it. There's no way in the world I would be smiling about wearing some Redskin crap. But he comes out, oh, you happy now? You want me to wear it through the next segment? All right, throw up the X. Throw up the X. And it's like, wait a minute. I'm not doing all that stuff. You're not going to hear me running and gelling some Kirk Cousins crap wearing Redskin gear. He's a classic Cowboy fan because they have honestly made him a hell of a lot of money. And the Cowboys win tomorrow night. Oh, I can't wait for Monday morning. Oh, it's so much fun. With Molly, as fine as she is, being a Giants fan, Ketterman being one, and anybody playing the Cowboys, Stephen A. Smith. Nick C, what? And they can beat the Seahawks. Yeah, well, here's a great thing is the way it's looking right now, if the Cowboys win tomorrow, Seahawks and Detroit Lions lose, we don't have to win another game. We've got home field advantage. And so I think you take Seattle away from Seattle with the Cowboys, I think we got it. And I got to say, I'm very proud of the Dallas Cowboy Nation because it used to be when I've gone to games in Dallas, you have almost as many of the other teams' fans there as Cowboy fans because most fans figure if I'm going to go to one game, I want to go to a Dallas Cowboy one because they've got an incredible stadium. It's a destination. And there's so much stuff that's going on there that you want to check out the clubs. You want to see the people dancing in the cages. You know, you want to check out the artworks. You know, you want to go to one of these clubs or bars and stuff like that and get some great food. So the game was almost secondary. You know, if you go to FedEx Field, it's a garbage dump. So the only thing you're doing is you're watching the game. And so you're focused in on the game. You're not distracted by all these other things. But with the Cowboys playing the way they've been playing, all of a sudden you got some rabid fans out there that are now giving us a bit of a home field advantage, something we really have never had at AT&T Stadium. Do I finally think this is the year of the Cowboys? Well, I'm not going to say that it's the year. I'm going to say it may be the year that we started another dynasty. Whether we win the Super Bowl this year or not, the Dallas Cowboys have, I dare say, got the pieces together the right way finally. What happened to us between like 2007, 2008, Jerry kept thinking we're just so close. So they would go out and sign a Brandon Carr, or they'd go through and get a TO, trade away draft picks because they were trying to get that instant team there. But you can't do that in the NFL. It hardly ever works. The way you win in football is you draft well, you hold on to those guys for 4 years. When they become big names, you let them go, and you keep drafting well. And that's what's happened with the Cowboys. The Cowboys have drafted well, and they lucked out by getting Dak Prescott. Let's be honest. When you look at all the teams out there that are starved for quarterbacks, the fact that we have 2 right now is unheard of. So now the Dallas Cowboys aren't just for this team. You've got a young offensive line. You've got young receivers. You've got a young stud quarterback. You're able to now take money because it's not tied up in the cap and spend on your defense. So you're going to look at the team being good for years to come. Mark Holmes, do you think there will be a Cowboys versus Raiders Super Bowl? I tell you what, that loss to the Raiders is definitely going to hurt the Raiders. I mean, they went from being possibly having home field advantage to 5th seed. And that finger, I think, is a lot worse off for Derek Carr than they've let on, because he looked pathetic. I mean, when you average 2.5 yards per pass, that ain't good. Thanks, Joe. Jobu, the working man source for the Dallas Cowboys. What's my opinion on Jalen Smith? I look at it this way. That was a worthwhile risk, drafting Jalen Smith, because you were looking at, had we had Rolando McClain, not needing him for this year to begin with, and you're saying, okay, we'll take a chance on the guy because he may be a top 10 player with injury. When you look at some of our players like Sean Lee was basically the same type of player. He was injured a lot in college, and they took a chance on him. He stayed injured a lot his first part of the years, but now all of a sudden, the last 2 years, he's been playing lights out, quietly been one of the best defensive players in the NFL this year. Gamma Ray, you're up in Canada, so how much longer am I going to be rolling? Actually, I started about a half an hour late, so we'll probably be rolling till about 10:30, or so, somewhere in there. Who knows? I lose track of time when I start talking to you guys. Drew, you're right. The Cowboys have drafted well. When you look at all of our first-round draft picks, if Claiborne comes back and still plays well, all of a sudden since 2010, every one of them have been a bona fide player. And you look around, nobody else in the NFL has done that. You have so many players that are bust in the first round. I mean, I've got a video that's going to be coming up later. I don't know if I'll finish it tonight. One thing I like to do, and part of the reason why I started this channel is, like I was saying before, so many of those talking heads just talk out of their ass. So I like to actually give you real facts. So when you go through and you hear Mel Kiper do his draft, mock draft, 2.0, 2.5, those guys are never right. Generally speaking, if they get more than 30%, then that's a good mock draft. And it's so funny because I'm sitting here going through clips, and I love listening to it. Dak Prescott pretty much wasn't even mentioned by most of the draft experts. They'll go through and they'll talk about Jared Goff and is the most pro ready, and Carson Wentz is this, that, and the other. And when they get down to Dak Prescott, oh, well, he's a running quarterback. He might be worth sitting on some bench and yada, yada, yada. I was like, okay. And then I saw yesterday, Mel Kiper says, oh, best players under 25, Dak Prescott and Odell Beckham. It's like, so wait a minute. You guys literally like weathermen, because you never get crap right. Remember early part of the season when they were saying we need to trade Dez Bryant because he was a distraction? Wrong. You remember good old Eric Davis talking about Dak Prescott's going to get benched because he's leaving so much on the field? Really? You had Shannon Sharp saying the Dallas Cowboys going to miss the playoffs. They're 7-9. Dak Prescott ain't jack shit, blah, blah, blah. You know, all this stuff that you hear. And even on a weekly basis, these guys are so far out. And instead of it actually be more of facts and figures, and even that doesn't give you a true response, it's like these guys just use their hatred of one team or the other, and that's how they make their calls and their decisions. So what I try and do, I know I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan, and I'm going to try and give you the best spin on everything, but I'm going to pull the numbers and put it together and try and grab as much information and say, here's my conclusion, and this is why I think it will happen. That's why when I say that the Giants had a 6-game winning streak, but when you play the Ravens, which is the only quality win in there, and then the Rams, the Eagles, the Bengals, the Bears, the Browns, who'd you play? And when teams tell you that, oh, the Giants have a great offense, well, statistics will tell you that their offense is 26th in the NFL. And they're 31st in running the ball and only 16th passing. So to me, that says they're not that good as you guys think. But on there, you'll see that the Giants are great. They're going to be able to take care of business. That, you know, Eli Manning can get the ball downfield quicker than Dak Prescott. And I'm kind of like, I don't see that. So that's my little rant right there, talking about the so-called experts. And that's what I try and do. When I try and give you something, I'm trying to give you with the most amount of information that I can what's going to happen. Fort Worth, thank goodness. Hey, well, welcome to the house, buddy. The Jerry Jones gloating. Okay, Jason Jackson. Well, here's the thing with Jerry Jones. This is my personal opinion, and I can be completely wrong. But I have it on good authority that pretty much Jerry Jones does not run the team, and they are keeping him more and more away from the public eye. Stephen Jones runs the team. You know that because of the things that have happened over the last couple of years. With Will McRae running the scouting department, the way they've been drafting. Jerry gets out. Jerry says whatever, that's crazy, it's off his head, be it glory holes or Tony Romo is going to end up starting and winning the Super Bowl or is going to be around for another 5 years. And it's kind of like, you know what, let Jerry go over here and be Jerry. We can let all of the press and everybody else chase him down. But over here is where we're actually going to run the team. And that's how it's been working. They are running the team the right way. You're not looking at the team signing crazy contracts. In fact, they've been getting rid of them the last few years. You're not looking at them making knee-jerk decisions like they used to, like, oh, let's go ahead and trade for T.O. or Roy Williams. You're not seeing them sign big-name, fat free agent contracts. So as far as what Jerry says, I got to say, he's going to be kind of an old man that's just kind of does a lot of talking. I do think we possibly can get something from Jalen Smith in the future. And again, it's rolling the dice. I mean, this draft already has been unbelievable, even though the experts gave us like a C- heading into it. I think his knee is coming together, and if his knee does come together, I think he could be a really great player. But again, it's a crapshoot. So sometimes you have to gamble, and sometimes you get lucky. Oh, the NFL ratings will be through the roof Sunday night with Giants and Cowboys. That'll definitely be one of the best games of the season. Oh, Jerry, yeah, exactly. The Johnny Walker Blue is what's got Jerry talking. And Jerry, like, you know, here, Sarah, you're completely right. Jerry Jones likes the media. Jerry Jones likes to be the spotlight. So sometimes you got to say something a little crazy to get noticed. Stephen A. Smith knows that when he starts doing his crime. It was an old girlfriend that was a Cowboy fan that broke up with me, and that's why I don't like the Cowboys. Oh, come on, man. Get real. So, yeah, Jose, you're right. Jerry Jones, I agree with you, is just the face of the organization. He's getting kind of like Al Davis was. What do I think about the Lucky Whitehead situation? I'm kind of surprised, to be honest with you. He actually went to school not far from where I live up here in Northern Virginia. And even during our bye week, it was amazing because he was actually back at his old high school watching his football game. I know that because the principal there I'm a friend of, she's like, "Oh, Lucky's here." So she snapped a picture and sent it to me. And I was like, okay, so that's cool. He went back home to his roots. So for him to be out late, missing a meeting, I'm kind of surprised of. I'm kind of glad that the team is basically saying, you know what, we're not doing any bullshit. I don't care who you are. If you don't do the right thing, you're not going to play. And to me, that's something that's been missing on this team for quite a while, because Orlando McClain was allowed to basically work out when he wanted to. The whole Randy Gregory situation, he was kind of, they knew about the weed usage and things like that. So to get past the diva issue, to me, is actually good. Lee, you just told us. Yeah, Manassas. Oh, yes. Yes, you know the area, Manassas, Virginia. Anyone want to engage in locker room talk? Okay. Jack? And it's nice to okay. Go hard. Moving Lyle Collins to right tackle, that's actually not the long-term plan. The long-term plan is actually to have him go back to left tackle and have Chaz Green become the right tackle. Excuse me, Lyle to go to guard, back to left guard, and end up having Chaz Green as the right tackle. Yeah, Jason, yeah, you're right. I've got a lot of trolls, of course, because I guess I should take having trolls actually as a positive thing, because that means I guess I'm getting out there more and people want to diss me. So yeah, they can join in, and I see they're kind of having some really interesting conversation. But the interesting thing about trolls this season, that with giant ones, eagle ones, and they've all fallen to the wayside. I think they've already packed it in for the season. And then, of course, it went to Redskin ones. And Psychopath is the only one that's still here. And he actually came through and said, I'm giving you guys a thumbs up. I actually want to see you guys win because we need your help. But most of them will just kind of go by the wayside. So it's all good. My daughter taught me something really interesting about haters. She said it doesn't matter if they like you or hate you. As long as they're looking at the videos, that's all that counts. So eat that, troll steak. Mark, I'm a bandwagon. Okay. If you take a look around at the stuff, and I've got a few videos of my man cave down here. If I'm a bandwagon, I was on the bandwagon before the Dallas Cowboys had their first Super Bowl. I remember when they lost to the Colts, which was, I believe, Super Bowl 4 or Super Bowl 5. I was really young back then, but I remember that. I remember when they won their first Super Bowl. So calling me a bandwagon fan is about as crazy as it can be. Well, yeah, Leary is solid. I agree with you on that, and there's no rush for him to replace. But here's the thing. Leary can be starting anywhere, and the thing is you could end up trading him and getting something for him. Thank God they didn't trade him in the offseason, because they almost did trade him to, I think, Miami. Yeah, okay, Lee Brandon, you're definitely one. Yeah, thanks, Kim, right? Yeah, I did have my channel. Okay, here's the thing. I'll be honest with you. The YouTube really didn't start taking off until after training camp. And I can tell you exactly why this channel started taking off, because you can go back through my old videos. I have videos last year from Jobu being stuck in the basement because the Cowboys suck so bad. I had videos, of course, from last year's Super Bowl where I was interviewing people and giving you all the sights and sounds and things like that. I had videos up from when we did a United Way road trip where I literally drove 14,000 miles across the country, going from NFL Market doing shoots for United Way. So you can look back and you'll see that this channel has been there. However, the growth on this thing took off after training camp because I put up one video. This video I put up right after the Senior Bowl, and it was all about Dak Prescott, because as soon as I saw him with Dak Prescott in that Senior Bowl, everybody was talking about Carson Wentz, but I was looking at Dak Prescott and I was like, Prescott had a better game. So then I started looking at some of this college film and seeing stuff on this guy, and the things that I saw, which the draft experts didn't see, I saw a guy who was on a team that you didn't normally win with. Mississippi State had never been ranked #1 before in the country. I saw him as a 3-year starter that threw over 9,000 yards. and threw 71 touchdown passes, ran for 40. But it wasn't that he was looking to run like, say, RG3 or some of these other running quarterbacks. He was basically running because he didn't have a team around him. And it was basically, okay, nobody is open. I'm going to get sacked, so I'm going to run. And when he ran, he was gifted and could take a hit. But when I saw him do some of the rollouts on play action with his eyes laser focused downfield, I said, oh, my God, this guy is incredible. And so I don't know why the experts didn't see it. You know, we kept hearing that he's Tim Tebow 2.0 with a slightly better arm. He's a running quarterback. And I just kept looking at this, and I'm just like, what is it, something I'm missing? Because when I looked at Carson Wentz, who played really well, but he played in Division I AA. Dak Prescott played in the Southeast Conference, a conference that puts 50-plus players in the NFL every year. Teams that are playing for the national championship. So if you're playing this level of competition and you're succeeding versus playing Division I AA down here, it's not apples to oranges, and that's what I saw. And I dare say, with the talent he played with at Mississippi State against the talent he played against in the Southeast Conference, with that offensive line, I dare say that the NFL is probably slower for him than what he had to face in college. He's got a great offensive line. He's got a great running game. He's got great receivers. None of these things he had in college. So from that point on, when Dak started playing, the growth just went through the window. So if you want to call me a bandwagon fan, feel free. I don't care. That's on you. And you're right. Haters are going to hate. You know, the funny thing about the whole bandwagon thing, Gamoran, is the Cowboys haven't won anything since '95. So it's not like we had a bandwagon every year, like, say, New England. This is the first year that we've been winning, okay? So for all these years we've been hearing bandwagon, bandwagon, bandwagon. What the fuck does that mean? Now, I can tell you, Redskin fans, when they're winning, they're out pumping their chest. But when they lose, you can't find them. So you could say they're pretty much a bandwagon fan. They're a fair weather fan. But, you know, haters are going to hate, like you said. The Giant fans are probably already coming up with excuses. Yeah, that could be. Who's the X factor? Well, I actually have to say that Elliott's going to be, because I think it's going to end up being a running game. The weather's going to be bad, and the Giants' defensive line is decimated. Sorry about the language there. You're right. I try not to cuss too much, but sometimes I get worked up. Dak Burger and Mark Burr. Okay. Well, here's the sad thing for me, and this is something, I tell you what, this is my dream. I've been blessed enough to go to quite a few Super Bowls, but unfortunately never one with the Dallas Cowboys. And I would like to, before I die, be at a Super Bowl with the Dallas Cowboys. And this one, the only one that would have been better is when we had the Super Bowl in Dallas, if that had been the Dallas Cowboys Super Bowl. But if the Dallas Cowboys could be at the Super Bowl in Houston, 3.5 hours away from Dallas, it would be incredible the amount of Dallas Cowboy fans that would be there. The NFL would make so much money, it would be unbelievable. Because when you go to a Super Bowl, even if you don't, and I'm going to tell you, Cowboy fans, if the Cowboys are in the Super Bowl in Houston, it's worth the drive to go there, even if you don't go to the game. There is so much to do in Super Bowl City. They'll end up having downtown at the convention center. I think it's Discovery Park is where it'll be this year. They'll end up having a theme, and it'll probably be the space, NASA and all. They'll end up having some kind of like tramway or toboggan setup like they had in New York. They'll have something that's featured, some kind of a ride. There'll be all the ESPN shows and stuff that'll be taping live where you can get on the set. There'll be Media Row where you can see all the shows going on and stuff and basically stand behind the camera and wave. There's literally parties in the street. They'll close down downtown and you'll have a couple 100,000 people that are there. They'll have street concerts. They'll end up having fireworks that are going on. It's literally a party from, Thursday on. Now, what I will tell you is, if you are close to it, you're better off if you want to try and get in and see the NFL experience and all that stuff to go early in the week before the crowds get there, because it's basically opens, I think, Monday or Tuesday. for the locals, and then by the time Thursday, Friday comes around, that's when it gets to be slam packed. But I'm telling you, it's just unbelievable, and I can't wait to go. I've been working on some different equipment and things, so I actually have a wireless microphone that I can put that goes behind my cell phone on a selfie stick, so I'll be there showing you some of the sights and sounds of Super Bowl. So I can't wait till that happens. Yeah, H-Town has a lot of Cowboy fans, and a lot of Texas fans will probably be leaving town. um, how many passes will Dak? I think he'll actually probably throw about 30 tomorrow. How many passing yards? I'll say about 250, about as usual. Okay, Walter Payton Award. Oh boy. Um, I'd like to let you in on a secret, but I can't really let you in a secret. Um, I actually knew who all the team's finalists were 2 weeks ago, and I'm just going to say it that. And I know who the top 6 are for that. But again, I didn't say anything about that because that's privileged information. But I got to tell you, they're all great guys, and they're all giving back. There's some really fantastic stories out there when you start reading some of their bios and stuff that they do. And I've been blessed enough to work with a couple of these guys. But definitely, okay, yeah, we got some real trolls in here. Mark, I think you and well, these things are rolling through so quick. So Lee Brandon, I take it that you are one of the giant trolls in here. What are you, about 12 years old? Because the way you're writing and stuff, you look like a little kid, sound like one. What do I think about Jalen Smith? Okay, well, here's the thing. It actually takes time before you can tell if a guy's going to be a bust or not. And basically, Tapper has a lot of potential in things. He's just been unfortunately injured. So give these guys some time. Give them a couple years to get themselves together. If Jalen Smith is half the player that he was in college, you still have a really good player. I hope Brandon Carr has a great game tomorrow. We definitely need him to, because here's the thing. If we can shut down Odell Beckham, that offense is gone, and they've got nothing else. There was a question in here that Jack, you're a 3-teamer? Come on, man. Now, I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan through and through. I will root for individual players because I've gotten to know some of them and things, and I like the story and stuff. But it's always about the Cowboys. I think the Giants are going to turn the ball over at least twice tomorrow because Eli is always a turnover machine. He's had 13 interceptions on the season. Oh yeah, Michael Rodriguez. Yeah, there's a whole lot of things that are a lot different from the 80s and 90s. Okay, like you guys now, you want to go ahead and get a Cowboy shirt and everything else. You can have it from Amazon the next day. Back when we grew up, you couldn't just get a whole lot of merchandise and stuff just like that. You couldn't buy jerseys and things. We had the stocking caps with the pom-pom on the top. Those you could always find at the store. But you didn't have the merchandise like you have now. I have a few mementos. I've got a pin from the Dallas Cowboys, Miami Dolphins Super Bowl. I think the scores actually was printed originally wrong on that. So I think it's actually worth more because it's actually the scores printed wrong. But there's not a whole lot of stuff that you can get. A few things that I have that are really old. I have an old alarm clock that's over there, dial alarm clock that my dad had back, I think, in the early 80s. I've got a 25th anniversary Coke bottle. I think that's 85. Excuse me, Pepsi bottle. And I'm trying to think what else do I have that's really, really old here. It's just not a whole lot of stuff. Yeah. Yeah, you just couldn't get merchandise that back then. Super Bowl is a place for kids after 7 p.m. There's a lot of stuff to do because here's the thing. If you go, it's cool as could be because the NFL realizes marketing. When you go to the Super Bowl setup, and it'll be downtown at, like I said, Discovery Park, the convention center. They have a whole setup where it's like the combine. So they'll have the little sticks so they can jump up, and they'll take interactive pictures and things like that. So you'll have, football players that are around you, or you can be on any field or whatever. You can get like they'll shoot your picture on a green screen, and you get to put on like a Madden cover and things like that. They'll have the races, which I love. The races are great because you're running a 40-yard dash. You see all these little kids running a 40-yard dash, and sometimes you get a little 2-year-old that's out there trying to run it, and it takes them basically half an hour to run the 40-yard. So there is actually a lot of stuff to do for kids if it's going as a family. Sean Lee, he's one of my guys. Jobu, he almost became Jobu. Jobu almost became his owner. Wow. So is there any way to block trolls? Anybody? How many times did Jobu penetrate me? Really? Yeah, you got to be about 12 years old. Wow. Really, really, dude. Talk about all the records, but okay. Yeah, you can block people. Well, okay. Yeah, you're right about that. You will always have some scantily clad women and stuff in Super Bowls. Unfortunately, when you have that much money and that many people, you're always going to have some prostitutes and ladies of the evening that are around. Who do I think is smartest between Lee and Dak Prescott? Oh, wow. I don't know if we can say like Wonderling smart or not, but I got to tell you, what a quarterback has to do versus what a linebacker has to do is definitely a lot more difficult. But I tell you what, both of them are really, really smart. Do I think do I think Elliott is the best draft pick we've had this century? Time will tell. It's still a little early because unfortunately, you look what RG3 was his first year and how that changed. I'm not trying to say that that's Zeke Elliott, but you still need about 3 or 4 years to really know if this was the right move or great player. Do I see Jason Witten retiring? No, not this year. Jason Witten still has a lot in the tank. I'm amazed at how well he's played this year, and I don't see him ready to give it up. I don't see him being as a player that would hang on if he didn't have the skills, but he still has the skills. Ask another trivia question. Oh, man. Okay. Nick C. Okay. Another trivia question. All right. We'll do 2 tonight. What running back has had the most touchdowns against the Dallas Cowboys in their history? Okay. See if you guys figure that one out. Let me say again. What running back has had more touchdowns against the Dallas Cowboys than any other in the Cowboys' history? Does Romo play in garbage time? That's a good question. I'm kind of hoping that the team doesn't go through and say, okay, we've locked up home field, we're going to rest everybody. Because I think you still need to have that playing. You got to keep consistent with what your preparation is, and you got to keep playing. You can't just stop and turn it back on. Do we need a better second wide receiver? I was kind of hoping that Bryce Butler would come along better than he did. John Riggins, you are a winner. Andy, okay, I'm sorry, Andy Turner. You got it, John Riggins. How many was it? And did you Google that? How many touchdowns did he have? Again, let me give you the email address. And yes, I'm that old that I still have an AOL email address. And be sure when you email me to let me know what size you need. Nope, not Barry Sanders. The answer was John Riggins. He had 10. 10 against the Dallas Cowboys. Lee, you just don't quit, will you? So I'm curious, Lee, um, troll that you are, what do you get out of doing this? You looking for attention? Your mother didn't hold you enough when you were a baby, or should I say right now? So what's the point of it? Um, some people want Randy Gregory. I got to tell you, after seeing the Cowboys get lucky um, for basically Skyping, or excuse me, not Skyping, Snapchatting, and missing a meeting, how does Randy Gregory fit into the equation? Because Randy Gregory, he's got his own issues there. Besides the weed, he actually missed a few meetings and things like that too. So it's kind of interesting that you're saying bring him back, but we're going to set Lucky Whitehead. Doesn't add up to me. Okay, so you guys didn't find that one. Okay, cool. Do I think Murray? Well, do I think Zeke Elliott will pull a Murray when it's time to renew? Well, we've got 4 years before we have to worry about that. The question is, will the Cowboys pull a Jerry when it comes to re-up and not want to pay him? That's the bigger question. Let's see. Mark, do I need a Jobu report? Where was that? Lee, you're a pathetic Giants fan, or are you just pathetic? I have to agree with you, Cameron. Yeah, he's just pathetic. I'm trying to see. These things are just strolling through so fast, it's hard to keep up. Do I need a Jobu reporter? We could possibly use another one. Crystal, you never know. We could always use an extra reporter. Definitely. What market are you in? Wow. Lee, you are really a piece of work. Who's the best defensive player? Sean Lee, without a doubt. Sean Lee is truly the best defensive player that we have, and thank God he has not been hurt this season. Who should we draft? It's a little early for me to pick out my draft guys, but we need an 800-pound gorilla to go on the defensive line. If we could get a pass rush, there is nobody that can stop us. Well, Lee, bye-bye. This old ass finally figured out how to do it. Okay. Andy, Andy, you sent me an email. I actually had somebody who sent me an email, and I've got to go back through it because they wanted to know more about Jobu and actually getting a Jobu. And I want to thank you for all the kind words and everything on it. The only problem with it is Jobu is one of a kind, and I'm not sure I can make an exact copy of Jobu again if I wanted to because it's hand carved. I've actually got his ugly cousin over there who's an Eagle fan that's actually made. So each one of them would end up being unique. And the amount of time that it takes to put into it, it's not something I can do like in a couple hours. It's like, a week or two. So I'll have to get back to you about if I can do some other ones and make you one. I love your story and everything else, and I appreciate all the great words and stuff, and glad that I'm partially an inspiration to you. But we'll see what we can do. Yeah, we blocked Lee. Demarcus Lawrence is fantastic, and he's unfortunately been having those nagging injuries. And that's another one of those things where I say that Randy Gregory won't be a big help to you because when you think about Demarcus Lawrence sitting out for those 4 weeks for performance-enhancing drugs, when he came back in, he wasn't really into that football shape. If you haven't played football, it's not like you can just go ahead and say, I'm going to play tomorrow. Your body gets used to the pounding that goes on. And the way the NFL is structured now, basically, you have a walkthrough in the morning at summer camp. You end up having an actual padded practice in the afternoon where you're not taking guys to the ground. You're not doing that much hitting and pounding. Most of the pounding and stuff comes actually in game time. So when you talk about Randy Gregory coming in starting to work out, they're not even in pads after week 11. So there's no hitting that he's going to do. So you're going to take a guy who hasn't played since last year, didn't go through training camp, and think that he's going to walk on the field and actually be able to help you? I doubt that very seriously that he's going to be able to do much. But, again, I'm a guy with a day job and a voodoo doll. I hate Wilcox not playing too. I also hate that Lucky Whitehead's not playing tomorrow as well. I also don't like somebody fell over. Don't like that Claiborne is out. But that's the life of the NFL. Look at some of the other teams that are out there that are losing guys. I mean, you think the Patriots like losing Gronk? You think Julio Jones having turf toe? I mean, it's the nature of the beast in football. You're going to lose people. The Cowboys have actually been pretty fortunate that, they lost their starting quarterback but ended up finding gold. So I'm back, bitches. Is that to Lee as in somebody else? Okay. My son is bigger. Okay. Give my take on Brandon Carr. Doesn't get hurt. He doesn't miss games. Part of the problem, here's the thing. Part of the problem with the Dallas back end has always been with lack of pass rush. There's a big difference if you're playing for, say, Denver, and you only have to hold a guy for 2 or 3 seconds versus having to hold a guy for 7 or 8 seconds. So that's part of the problem with our back end is that we don't have much of a pass rush. Carr's not a bad player, but he'll get beat from time to time, just like almost anybody will. It's just the nature of the game. Excuse me. Yes, actually, Jason, I did get to go to the African American Museum in D.C. Ooh, excuse me. And it is phenomenal. If you get a chance, you have to go online to get into it and basically get your tickets in, like months ahead. And I think right now the tickets are out to February. Ooh, excuse me. But get your tickets for as early as possible because, excuse me, get your tickets for as early as possible and get there right when the place opens up because it's 6 floors, 3 of which are underground. And the main displays are underground in there. That's where you have all the slave ships and all of the really nice stuff that's down in there. But if you show up there after like 10:30, you're literally going to wait 2 hours in line to get through and see that. The top floors they have is all like music. So you'll see like Michael Jackson stuff. You'll have old school rap stuff in there. They've got the mothership, if you guys know who George Clinton is. So that's really, really cool. And then the third floor, I'm trying to remember what was third floor. Third floor was just more displays from Civil War through civil rights and things like that, and also all the sports stuff. So you've got Michael Jordan, you've got Cassius Clay, and you've got all these great stuff. And they even have, it's all interactive. So if you get a chance, definitely go there. Sorry, that was off topic, but it is sports related. Yeah, well, yeah, I think Lee's already back, but that's okay. It actually is cool with me because, hey, he wants to be here. Even though he's an asshole, he wants to be here. That's cool. Somebody was saying about their wife wants a shirt. If you want a shirt, all you have to do is go to jobumancave.com. You can order one. I sell them for $16, and what I do with the proceeds from it is I put the money back into doing this. So when I sold them years ago, I ended up buying 2 stones over at the stadium. So if you actually go to AT&T Stadium, and I recommend you do this on game day, go to the Tom Landry section on the stadium. It's over by the Black Fountain. And smack dab in the middle of that section is a stone over there. It says Cowboy Jobu dedicated fans, and that's you guys. The interesting thing about that is that's the player's entrance. So if you're there a couple hours before the game, you'll end up seeing all the players literally walking on that stone into the stadium. And it's a pretty great story behind how that stone got put in that spot. And I couldn't have even dreamed up of putting it in that spot. It just kind of worked out that way. And that's the strange thing about Jobu here. As crazy as it sounds, sometimes I kind of have to give him a side eye because, like, did that shit really happen? Give you an example. Last year, we were at the draft. Not only at the draft, the second day, we were in the front row of the draft. And I got him on the stage at the draft. The same day that they drafted Dak Prescott. It's one of those things that kind of make you go, We were at the draft saying, we need to draft Dak Prescott. And kind of go, we actually got him? So go figure. So if you want, sorry, I digress. But if you want one of the shirts, go to jobumancave.com, and it's $16. And the money I put back into this. I got some new lights to go through here. I got the webcam. I also got the wireless mic so I can do other stuff with it. So we'll put it to good use and hopefully bring better stuff to you guys. Living in Redskin territory. This is a really kind of cool, again, it was because of my father. It's the reason why I became a Cowboy fan, because literally I went to high school with, and this is great that I should say this again, I went to high school with one of the Redskins defensive coordinator's kids. Our crosstown rivals, Oakton High School, Joe Gibbs' kids, JD, played quarterback for. So I'm smack dab in the middle of Redskin territory when the Redskins are good. But because the Redskins were the last team to integrate with, me being old enough that the Civil Rights Amendment went into effect the year I was born, my dad didn't want to support the Redskins because they wouldn't integrate. So that's how I became a Dallas Cowboys fan. And what's interesting is when I told that story before, one of the followers that are in here knew that his dad knew Richie Pettibone's kids and said, Dad, do you know this guy? So now I'm in touch with a guy I went to high school with and played football with. What's my favorite channel on YouTube? Oh, God. This is going to sound terrible, but I don't look at a whole lot of channels. I check out yours, Gamma Ray, because I'm trying to figure out how you get all of the highlights and stuff up without getting in trouble. Because anytime I put a highlight on, it's smack dab cut. I actually like going through and seeing and trolling some of the Redskins and Giant sites, although the Eagles have been terrible lately. Yep. Lee's back again. Okay. Wow. Okay, so we got to clean some of this stuff up. Cool, holler at me. I'm into entertainment. This is great. Okay. Okay, well, Crystal, where are you out of, Crystal? Email me on the shirt. I'll get them out on Monday because I've got a bunch of other ones that were ordered, Andy. So email me your address and the sizes you need. It'll get out Monday. You'll have it for the next game. Yeah, things are falling off the shelf. Probably, who knows what that was? Oh, it was the light. Should have known. I put an extra light up in the top here for the jerseys that are up in there, and the double stick tape didn't stick too well. Yeah, Willie Dade, definitely. A lot of these guys are just freaking idiots. And I think a lot of times they realize I need to make a name for myself, and I can make a name for myself by basically saying some crazy shit. And that's what you see, like Eric Davis talking about, oh, Dak Prescott, he's leaving a lot of stuff on the field. And everybody's kind of like, even Rich Eisen was like, say what? We never heard that from anybody else. So they're doing stuff to try and get a name out there. I mean, Bart Scott was talking about the Washington Redskins he thought were the better team in the NFC East, even though they had just lost the second time to the Cowboys. And he said stuff that just kind of made you go, what? He said they got a great running game, and their defense is there. And I'm like, really? They pay you to talk about sports? You don't have a clue, do you? So that's the way I kind of look at a lot of this stuff. That some of these guys out there, shit, I could do their job. Um, what team do I fear playing the most in the NFC? I hate to say the Washington Redskins because it's really hard to beat a team 3 times in a season. And the Seattle Seahawks, of course, can always be tough, but they're kind of up and down. Mark, this might be weird to do, but can you give a Go Cowboys for my grandma who's missed? Wow. Dallas fan 88. I'm sorry about your grandmother passing away, but I tell you what, shout out to your grandmother who started the family tradition for you guys. Yeah, that's one of the few times you'll see me stealing Jobu's room, but we're cool. Who'll be the returner this week? You're going to see Cole Beasley probably returning this week with Lucky out. Cole, he's returned quite a few. Odell is definitely a diva, and he definitely complains too much. I tell you what, Jason Jackson, here's what I think is going on. As I watch, because I record it every day just so I can go through the highlights and listen to this full whine. And he actually isn't so bad in real life. I've met him in real life. And he does a lot of things, a lot of good things too. You just don't hear about him. But he's still just, I think a lot of it's just a persona. But if you notice how he went from talking about how he hates the Dallas Cowboys to now it's he hates the putrid fan base. So, he'll say, oh, no, I'm good with Dak. Dak's my boy. Zeke Elliott, he's cool. Yeah. Sean Lee, yeah, he's all right. So you're looking at him basically saying, oh, I like the Cowboys. It's just their fans that are like, because he realizes if he sticks with that whole persona that I hate the Cowboys, that come Super Bowl, if they're there, they're going to say, F you, man. I don't want to talk to you. So that's where he's evolving right now. And I think that's what that whole story is about, my heart being broken. I bet you this is what will happen. The Cowboys win the Super Bowl. All of a sudden, they've healed his broken heart. He now loves the Dallas Cowboys because they saved him from all the pain. You watch. Who was the greatest Cowboy to play the game? The Dallas Cowboys have been blessed with a lot of talented players, and I still have to go back to Roger Staubach. The things that he was doing were unbelievable, especially when you think that he sat out his first 5 years being in the military. He was just unbelievable. Yeah, I'm going to keep doing the Stephen A. Smith videos. People seem to like those, and eventually, they got to get back to him. And what I'm hoping is if I put enough of them out there, he will know who I am. That by the time I show up on set with Jobu, it'll be like, oh, it's this guy. So we'll see. Okay. Doug Free be replaced? I think he'd definitely be replaced next year. Like I said, I think Chaz Green is going to be the one to take his spot. Dez on the jet sweep. Well, it's possible. Take a shot. Okay. Really, Lee? What are you just like making new accounts and stuff over and over again? You were about the. I got to give you props, man. You are a consistent troll. I've been on their set before. In fact, I was actually behind the set one year, and you can see Jobu on the TV screen as they're doing the whole show. If you actually go to my Facebook page and go through, I mean, it's lots of pictures. You can see some of the pictures of it there. Do I think Tony Romo will stay? I actually think if the Dallas Cowboys were to go through and win the Super Bowl, I think Tony Romo would retire and end up getting into coaching for the Cowboys. What did Lucky do? Well, apparently we're still getting the details of it, but supposedly at 2 a.m. in the morning, he was Snapchatting and put up some stuff that I guess didn't shed light well on him or the team. And he missed a morning meeting. So they basically said, you're on suspension. What else, other than that, I don't know yet. I'm sure it'll all come out on TMZ or something. Odell equals trash. I like that. Yeah, it seems like we got a little war going on in here. And wow, we've been going for over an hour, guys. Do you realize that? we need to wrap this up because I got to get up early and pick up the wife at the train station. Got to get the barbecue going and get ready for game day. Jobu, I have a question. Okay. What's your question? Space Cowboy, my MVP is Dak Prescott, especially if they end up going to the Super Bowl. Dak and Zeke, Rookie of the Year. They're beyond Rookie of the Year. What I said this before, and I think it would actually be really, really cool, is when you come to NFL Player of the Year, that they end up doing as a co-trophies, because honestly, you really can't have one without the other. And I think it would be really cool if it ended up being that way. I don't know if they'd want to share it or not, but hey. I'm a huge fan, but I think the Jets are the only team in the NFL that can beat them. What are you talking about? Okay, Cowboys and Browns in the Super Bowl. All right, so somebody's been in the room a little harder than me and Jobu. Wow, Jack. Chop the NBA trophy in half and move it together. Okay. Well, look, it is going on 11 o'clock. I've got another video I need to finish up tonight because I want to have that out there. And I want to get ready for game day tomorrow. So tomorrow morning we'll have morning coffee with Jobu, our Jobu Report. We'll have some updates. We'll probably live stream before the game. We'll talk about the early game, see how the Redskins and the Eagles do. Got to figure out who I actually want to win on that one. Do I want the Eagles to win and give them hope and crush the Redskins, or would I like to see the Redskins crushed? I mean, crush the Eagles completely. God, maybe we can get a tie in that game. Yeah, maybe that'll happen. But as always, I enjoy talking with you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this as well. I'll get those T-shirts out on Monday. And as always, thank you guys for watching, subscribing, and being part of the Jobu Report. Because without you guys, except for Lee, we'd be nothing. So have a great night, and how about them Cowboys? And now if I can figure out how to cut this damn thing off, we will end this. Good night.